Every day, citizens around the country are faced with new dilemmas. Dilemmas that affect them profoundly. Whether it's injustice, discrimination, falling through the cracks, scandals and cronyism, balances of power, ethics, religious freedoms, state versus citizens, and unfunded mandates, and the list goes on and on and on. Welcome to Speak Up. It's directed at those who have fallen through the cracks, and it gives them a voice. It's your turn to speak up, to stand up and fight back.
Welcome to Speak Up. I'm Kevin Avard, your host. Recently we had Marie Miller on our show, and we were talking about a situation where she lost her house because she refinanced her house, and due to circumstances that got beyond her control, the mortgage people came and took the house, and they really didn't even own the house, did they?
Right.
And there's a lot of litigation that was going on in between. And this is basically a follow-up to what we originally had in the past. It was Representative Tim Comerford that represented you
Yes.
with the Redress of Grievance Committee.
Yes.
I believe you were founded in the committee.
Yes.
Which means the House has done no action since she's been founded. Nobody's voted on it. It's just sitting there in the House calendar. And we want to recap a little bit of what we discovered in our first interview and find out basically what's happened to this date. So Marie, would you mind telling us a little bit about what happened?
Yeah. Well, I was here last year in May, and I believe I was in I was just getting done in the New Hampshire Supreme Court. They denied me my due process as well as they did in the Strafford County Superior Court. And then I filed an appeal into the federal court in Concord, New Hampshire. I was also denied. They said they did not see anything wrong with what the other judges did, Judge Wageling and Judge Lewis. And when it was denied in federal court, all of a sudden it ended back up in Superior Court.
How did that happen?
I have no clue.
Okay, it wasn't just shut down, it wasn't just closed, it wasn't dismissed. It was
remanded back to Superior Court.
Okay.
And then
Who was the judge in the Superior Court that what?
Judge Lewis.
Judge Lewis?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a new judge brought in because I complained about Judge Wageling.
That's the part I want to camp on just for a second. What happened with the first judge?
Judge Wageling.
Right.
She gave Nation Star.
Who was the mortgage company?
Who said they were. They were never. They were never. I had my mortgage with Centex out of Tempe, Arizona. And then Nation Star came in and started taking my payments.
They saved them?
They wanted my house. They saved my checks.
3 of them?
Yes, 4 of them. One I paid by cash by Western Union, the 21st of March in 2008. And the other 3, they saved and sent back to me in August of 2008.
And instead of allowing the mortgage to be, you had basically refinanced or had an agreement to refinance.
Yeah.
And there were 4 payments sent. And instead of cashing those payments, they just held on to them. Then they sent them back to you.
Yes.
And it said, I think we like the property instead.
Yes.
So during this process, you brought it before the judge,
Yes.
and what happened?
Well, first I was brought before Judge Brown.
Okay.
Judge Brown. And Judge Brown listened to me. I demanded the original note.
Okay.
And Judge Brown listened to me in Superior Court in Dover and demanded that they bring forth the note, the original note. And they never did.
At any point, they never
Never did. Never
Okay.
did.
Then it goes from Judge Brown to,
Judge Wagelin, Marguerite Wagelin.
and the evidence that was from one judge to the other judge never seemed to transfer.
No, she totally ignored it. Judge Wagelin totally ignored Judge Brown's order to produce the original note.
And did you bring this up to the judge?
Yeah,
And what did the judge say?
Judge Wagelin, she didn't say anything. We had a hearing. I objected to everything the attorney from Nation Star had brought forth that day at the hearing. I objected to everything. And then she said, you have the note, Mr. Carambellas, Attorney Carambellas, do you have the note? And he said, yes, I have it in my briefcase. Yes, I have it in my briefcase. And it stayed there. She never demanded to see it. And I told her, Judge Wagelin, that what he showed me outside in a conference room was a copy of a note, not the original.
Okay. And who was the name on the copy of the note for the mortgage company?
Nation Star.
Okay. So they bought it from, supposedly, but
Yeah.
it wasn't the original note.
No.
And he didn't have to produce that to the judge.
That's right.
Okay, so take us.
And Judge Wagelin made an order of a summary
Summary judgment?
judgment for the bank and gave them a writ of possession. So that the sheriff informed me that I have to move out in 30 days. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that at all because I'm going to bring it to the Supreme Court.
On what grounds did the mortgage company, was it Nation Star?
Yeah.
On what grounds did they have to give you back the 4 payments?
I have no idea.
They just held on to them,
They held on.
and they were in a timely fashion,
Yeah.
and they decided, I want the house. We go before
Yeah.
the judge. This judge didn't work, so now we go to a different judge.
Yeah.
We got this judge to listen to us. That's interesting. Is that justice? So now what?
So I went to the Supreme Court.
Mhm.
I filed everything in a timely fashion. I filed every objection and every motion in a timely fashion. Stated law, case law, canons. I did a wonderful job. And they told me that lower court did not make any errors. Yes, they made errors.
Okay, so now we're back into the lower courts with a
Now, the Supreme Court denied me due process and denied my case against Nation Star. Then I went to the federal court. And Judge McAuliffe denied me too and said that the lower courts didn't make any errors.
Okay.
And then, for some reason, the case ended back. It was remanded back to Superior Court.
Under a different judge?
Yes, under Judge Lewis. Lewis. And then it sat in court for quite a while. And then when Nation Star filed for a new writ of possession, I had in meantime found this analytic property analytic examiner on the Cape, down there in Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Okay.
And she gave me a wonderful affidavit. She said she has access to Bloomberg financial systems. She pays a lot of money a year for that, but she has access to that, and she could see that my loan was sold several times. It's all in my affidavit
And
of
so
truth
Nation
and
Star
fact.
never actually had the
No.
ownership of it. And so
No.
the attorney who testified that he had it but never produced it
Yeah.
really didn't show any evidence to the judge, but the judge said that was enough
Yeah.
for her.
That he had it in his suitcase. Never showed it, submitted it to
Is
the
their
court.
name ever on the title at any point?
Say that
Is
again?
Nation Star title in that forensic?
Is still, no, it was never on there. It was sold before they got it. They somehow claimed they got it through their sister company out of Tempe, Arizona, Centex. But it was already sold.
How many
by
hands did it change
3.
while they still had your checks?
Yeah.
Now where does it stand?
Now, since I have this wonderful affidavit of truth and fact by McDonald Property Analytics, I reopened my case the 6th of December in Superior Court, demanding a hearing due to new evidence, because she said my case is going to make history. She says, you get a lot of money for it. You should win it and get a lot of money for what they have taken you through.
Right.
All the anxiety you suffered. So I said, okay. I entered it in court the 6th of December. Nation Star never answered anything to the affidavit of truth and fact that I submitted. Neither did they objected to a reopening of the case.
Okay.
They totally ignored it. So Judge Lewis granted me a hearing for the 22nd of January of 2013, just a few months ago. And at that hearing, he reprimanded the attorney for Nation Star, Attorney Murphy. He reprimanded him because he did not answer anything to the affidavit of truth and fact. He also reprimanded him for selling my house the 7th of January in 2013 when there was still litigation in court. He said, if you sold it, you're going to be in big trouble.
So Nation Star sold your house while it was still being litigated.
Yeah.
And the judge acknowledged this. And there's transcripts of that in the court.
Yes,
okay?
I have them transcripts. And he told me that I filed too many frivolous things and I should get an attorney. There was nothing frivolous about my thing. He was just covering up the corruption. Nothing frivolous about me. And he told me to get an attorney.
Who told you?
The judge ordered me to get an attorney. So I said, okay, I will. So I got an attorney. Attorney Michael DeCola out of Hudson. And Attorney DeCola filed a motion that due to new evidence, I should have a hearing. And Judge Lewis denied it.
On what basis?
No basis. Just denied it. Judge Lewis denied it the 4th of April, the 2nd of April. Just denied. And the case is closed, was on the order. He denied it, and the case is closed. So my attorney filed a motion which had to be in the 12th of April last Friday to reconsider. So that's where we're standing. My attorney filed a motion to reconsider his order.
Now, there there's been some physical activity going on as well. You went to your home, and there was somebody in there trying to move your property.
Right. Well, 3 weeks ago, I received a phone call from Mrs. Rossi that her husband, Lou Rossi, and Jean Rossi bought my property. And she gave me a call, and she said, I found out through my lawyer that you had quite some misfortune with your property. She said, we bought it for $12,600. And if you give us the money back, I'd be willing to let you keep your house. Nice lady, right? That's what she said 3 weeks ago. In meantime, her husband comes on my property, puts rat poison down because I have several cats. Just comes on my property and puts...
Did your cats eat any of the rat poison?
Kevin, I wouldn't know because I have a very sick son that's a veteran, and I stay with him. In order to save gasoline to travel back and forth, I stay with him at his house at the moment to take care of him.
Who's taking care of your cats?
My granddaughter lives at my house, and my grandson. And I have not asked her if the cats are still around. It has somehow, I have a lot on my mind. Right. But last night I was thinking about it. I said to myself, Nikki said he's placing rat poison around
She witnessed him do it? Did she witness him doing putting the rat poison?
Yeah. And I have forgotten to ask her that, but I will ask her that today. She was today at work when I called my house. And then he came back last Saturday morning, just before 10 a.m. My daughter works till late at night, and by the time she gets home from work, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So she was asleep, and somebody was banging on the door. She thought the door was coming down. And she looked out the window, and she said to her boyfriend, it's Mr. Rossi. So then they heard him taking all the furniture off the porch and throwing them on the driveway, my rocking chairs. I asked my granddaughter's boyfriend today what the rocking chairs broke. She said, no, they're pretty sturdy. They didn't even break. Mm-hmm. And when my grandson went out, my granddaughter's boyfriend went out on the porch to talk to Mr. Rossi. Mr. Rossi confronted him and kind of pushed his chest into him. So my grandson told him to get away and told my granddaughter to call the police. And the police did come. But he wanted to run away before the police came. But the police got him on time. And the police told him to go down the street to the post office and wait for them until they heard what my granddaughter had to say.
So right now, you're waiting for this motion.
Yes.
Of reconsideration.
Yes.
And this so-called new owner who offered you $12,000 or $15,000 to get out of to pay back, and they'll give you back the property, is now putting down rat poison on the property.
Yeah.
And is banging on the doors.
Yeah.
And at what time in the morning?
10 o'clock in the morning.
10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. I was on my way to Concord to that rally, you know, in front of the State House.
Yep.
I was on my way there, and I didn't want to turn around because it was important for me to go there, you know. I'm
curious as to where this is going to go. You have absolute proof that Nation Star wasn't one of the owners.
Yeah, I can leave you an affidavit.
And you sent
the
payments, and they also sent you the checks back.
Yes.
With a receipt for the checks? Or
no, just my checks. They were never canceled.
I guess what I'm asking is when they sent them back, was there a note with them?
No.
They just sent them back?
Yeah.
In an envelope?
Yeah.
What about even the Western Union?
Yeah. That money they sent back too. 4 payments.
And the judge that is presiding over this is Judge Lewis.
Yeah.
Of what county?
This is in Stratford County.
Stratford County.
Stratford County Superior Court, where he came in specially, he was shipped in for my case.
From where?
I wouldn't know. He was specially assigned to my case.
Is he related to any particular law firm? Do you know?
I don't. I haven't checked it out.
Do you know if any of the other judges are particularly have worked for any different law firms?
Well, Margaret Wakelin used to be the Attorney General for Hillsborough County, right? Or what do you call them? The district attorney.
Okay. Any of these related to any particular law firms that you know of? These judges?
No.
Okay.
I just know Judge Wakelin. Her brother is into real estate.
Okay.
So I was wondering if she had a hand in their special gains, special interest.
Well, one of the things that's very interesting right now, Marie, is you've heard of the mortgage specialist, that big company, Mr. Mike Gill. He's actually filing a federal lawsuit, and it's actually in the works right now. It's been filed.
Yeah.
And it's the Mortgage Specialist, Inc., Mike J. Gill, the plaintiff, versus the commissioner of the New Hampshire Banking Department.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed that this has not made the news. There's some power brokers here in New Hampshire that are keeping this quiet. Why hasn't Channel 9, the Telegraph, the Union Leader, or anybody picked up on this?
Yeah.
I know there was a big issue here with what happened with Boston. I understand that. But this was filed last week.
Yeah.
Nobody's picked up on this story. Why is money being returned because of all the... There's a lot of information that is not getting out there.
Yeah.
And how are you to fight when your loan has been sold 3 times? You put in 3 or 4 payments, and it comes back to you.
Yeah.
The judge doesn't even look at the documents. And now, rat poison on your property.
Yeah.
I'm being dramatic, but really, that's the bottom line.
It's a bit too much.
That's the bottom line.
I'm so scared. I'm handicapped. If that man approaches me, I don't know what he's going to do to me. And I called his wife Saturday while I was on the road. I couldn't turn around. I called his wife. I said, what happened? You told me 3 weeks ago that you would work with me. Your husband is at my house on 1 Summer Street throwing my furniture off the porch. She said, he is. He told me he was going to the dump. I said, yeah, he's at my house, and I don't appreciate it. She said, oh, my husband is a very energetic, temperamental Italian down there from New York, she says, and she was kind of laughing. And she said, oh, he wants to get in on the property and rebuild it and everything else,
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show to tell your story. And again, we'll put it out there, but
yes,
we need the people aware that these things happen. Originally, Marie got a letter. It looked like junk mail. She just, by chance, opened up that letter because, whatever. She opened it up, and it just so happens that her house was sold. Her mortgage was sold. Not her house, her mortgage was sold. And there was a new owner. What if that happened to you? What if, oh my God, what is this little piece of junk mail? I'll throw it out. And it was your mortgage. And then you go to make some payments to a refinance and come to find out they don't care. We want your house, keep your money. What would you do? What do you do when you bring the evidence to a judge in New Hampshire and they throw it out? What do you do? It's time we start getting some answers and some people start speaking up. If this has happened to you, please contact me at speakupnh@gmail.com. or contact the Center for Redress of Grievance, LLC at centerforredress.com. Look it up. We want to help, and we want to get your story out there. Thanks for watching Speak Up. Until next week.
Every day, citizens around the country are faced with new dilemmas. Dilemmas that affect them profoundly. Whether it's injustice, discrimination, falling through the cracks, scandals and cronyism, balances of power, ethics, religious freedoms, state versus citizens, and unfunded mandates, and the list goes on and on and on. Welcome to Speak Up. It's directed at those who have fallen through the cracks, and it gives them a voice. It's your turn to speak up, to stand up and fight back.